The idea of radical forgiveness is that the people that come into your life are supposed to come into your life, and the events that happen in your life, however painful they are supposed to happen because your soul wants you to learn and to wake up further. Forgiveness is really a necessity in life because I don't want to be angry. Holding on to resentments and anger is the reason why people can't forgive. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Awakening Process 101 podcast. We're so happy to be here with you today. In this podcast, we discuss spirituality, emotional health, healing, and the true meaning of awakening in the context of our modern lives. Our goal is to spark insight and plant seeds on your path to awakening by sharing our own experiences, what worked and what didn't. My name is Pernilla, and this is Louise Juel. She's my best friend. Today, we are going to speak about something that is a very profound mindset, which is the idea of radical forgiveness. I think that the idea of radical forgiveness is a little bit like a catchphrase now because you hear this word radical before a lot of things. But for me, I found a book about 10 years ago. It's called Radical Forgiveness by Colin Tipping. The idea of radical forgiveness is that the people that come into your life are supposed to come into your life, and the events that happen in your life, however painful they are supposed to happen because your soul and the universe wants you to learn and to wake up further. I was super angry at my husband at this time, but it helped me forgive him and understand that what was happening with him and how I had to react or work on myself in order to deal with the situation we were going through helped me open up even more to the understanding of my role in this. And then I discovered that forgiveness is really a necessity in life because I don't want to be angry. And I believe that the universe gives us what we need in order to continue our path of awakening, which is our destiny here. Our dharma is to awaken in this lifetime at certain levels, some a little bit, some a lot. But these painful experiences and the people that, like my husband, who's obviously has a big role in my life, I had no choice but to forgive him, or at least I felt that way. And I wanted to because I love him so much. That was 10 years ago. Louise, why don't you tell me what this means to you?
First of all, thank you so much, Pernilla, for inviting and to share this important theme, I think. We need to start with radical. Why? Just by putting radical in front of forgiveness gives it another power, another intention. What do we mean by radical? And as you said, radical acceptance, radical responsibilities, radical forgiveness, for me, gives me an extra importance that this needs to be done. And I think that in that sense, radical is even for everyone. When you say radical, you mean radical. It's not so many different layers. Forgiveness has many different shapes and forms, and I think it comes in different waves of awareness. You talked about your husband and that you said that you have no other choice than to forgive him. And that's how you felt. And I think that when you forgive, in the end of the day, you need to forgive yourself to be able to truly forgive another person. And as you just mentioned, that people and circumstances are coming your way, and the universe gives us that in gratitude that we can work with it to develop ourselves and to become more aware. And now we are very deep. But so I think
we're so deep.
We're so deep. But first of all is, what do we mean by radical forgiveness? How do we discover forgiveness? And how can it help us, both emotionally and in our spiritual path? You know, we don't want to cultivate something that we don't benefit from. We want to have more freedom, or we want to feel more in ease in our body and grace in our life. We do things because we want to aim for some more inner peace, I guess, or more happiness.
You know, the idea of forgiveness without the radical was already presented to me because when I read this book, I had been in AA for almost 20 years. The whole theory of the 4-step and the 10-step and the 12 steps in themselves is about forgiving oneself, forgiving others, letting go of resentments. Holding on to resentments and anger is the reason why people can't forgive, because they think that I cannot let it go of this anger that I feel at this one person. It's somehow we're attached to holding on to the anger that we feel. And I thought that this was how you live. I didn't know that there was another choice. I didn't know that you could actually decide, I'm going to look at myself and see why I'm so angry about this. And I'm going to decide that I'm going to forgive instead. Because in the end, forgiveness leads us to a happier life. I mean, it's so hard because the human condition programs us to hold on to our justified resentments. Like, my dad did this, and therefore I'm always angry at him, blah, blah, blah. It's very classic stuff, right? So I think when I read this book, I already understood forgiveness.
But when you say I already understood forgiveness, did you understand to forgive other people, or did you understand that by forgiving other people, you also forgive yourself?
Maybe not like intellectually, like you're just saying, but that's what I did, even though I had no awareness on it. And also I had been doing a pretty intense spiritual practice for a while. So the idea that a person could come into your life and have a role in your further awakening wasn't a foreign concept. I could get with that. If you had given me this book when I was 22, I would have been like, this is completely nuts. People don't have a role, and I blame X for everything that's happened to me that's negative. So I guess it is a spiritually pretty evolved concept to radically forgive somebody, because the belief in the fact that the awakening and the soul's journey is happening has to be there. Otherwise, what do you mean? I'm just going to let go of this thing and be happier? Yeah. But if you don't have a sort of spiritual foundation, I think that then it's kind of like step 3 in AA. You turn your will and your life over the care of God, and you're like, but who is that? I don't know. When this book arrived and I was able to radically forgive, I had a bit of a background, a foundation that was supporting me in this. So I could understand the concept.
Yeah, but to understand the concept and to work the concept is for me 2 different things, because you can understand it intellectually in your mind. But for me, radical forgiveness is something that I feel in my body. That's something I can feel how I transforming the energy in different situations. So wherever I am, because I don't think you forgive and then you have forgiven forever. I think it's a process that you need to work on daily basis. When you do your meditation, you go through your physical body, your mental body, your emotional body, energetical body, and you scan through what needs to be forgiven today to find that ease and peace in the body and mind. So when you say you understood it, what tools did you do to practice it?
At the time, the tool that I used was simply asking the questions.
Like,
am I ready to accept fully that this person is going through this thing in our lives that is affecting me in a big way, and that has an effect on me that is supposed to be happening so that I can grow further? Am I willing to accept that? And I said yes. And the details around it was that my husband went to rehab, and the therapist I saw at the time said, you have to go to Al-Anon. And I said, oh, because AA people don't like to go to Al-Anon, but most of us have to do it because codependency is our original addiction. And I started going. I went for 6 months. And when I did, I discovered that codependency was quite prevalent in my life in so many ways, and had been there way before my husband even showed up in my life. And so I learned so much about myself. And that was the gift. So you said that the tools, well, for me, it was creating greater awareness on my own actions around codependency and how I interact with the people close to me. you could say that my tool was to go to Al-Anon and then to continue to reflect on my reactions to my codependent relationships.
So instead of react, you could respond.
Yeah, or pause, because that's a big
But
one
I
for
think
me.
you say something very important in without having any answer to all this. But what's resonating in what you're saying is the codependency. Like when you went to Al-Anon, you open up for deeper awareness of how the codependency affected your life. And I think the codependency is a key to see and understand to be able to be in any recovery, because it's the collective,
it's everything,
unconscious.
And that's the thing, right? So this little journey that I had around this specific situation showed me that radical forgiveness is a gift, and it was a gift in that time. Then I can take it again and apply it to other things in my life. With some people, it's harder. And what you said, it's like you work on something on a daily basis and you feel it in your body and you feel the tightness. But for me, there's been situations where I am able to radically forgive and then it's done. And then there's other situations where I have to keep at it because it's not ever completely black and white. Oh, I forgave. Whew, done. No, there's other situations where I have to keep on going. This person who really triggers me has a role in my life. They're a teacher, but I'm still learning, and it drives me crazy sometimes.
But can I come with an example? Because when we talk about forgiveness, this is how I have seen it before. It's always, I put forgiveness there. I put it outside. I need to forgive another person. But if I bring this back to me, and if I look into what this person is triggering within me, there is something within myself I need to forgive. There's something I need to look at myself.
Exactly.
So we don't put it outside ourselves.
Yes, exactly.
So coming back to what I've been going through the past year with the divorce, I got into this session, which was quite mind-blowing, where she said, you need to talk to your ex-husband and you need to tell him how much you loved him and how unable you were to be present in his love at that time for you. I couldn't see this, but that means that I don't say that word, but that, this relationship up myself. It's not about him, it's about me. So about a month later, after I heard all this and I had meditated and chanted for it every day, twice I asked my ex-husband to come, and I said, I have something I need to tell you from the heart. Can you come? Absolutely. 2 times I need to cancel it because I didn't feel I was ready yet. And I had to trust the universe, and I said, I don't want it to go too long time. I want to do this before a certain date because it was important for me, because I could feel that the energy was blocking myself for moving forward in life. And then we came to this date, and of course he showed up. And when I told him from the heart how I have felt and the reason why I had acted the way I did, because that's how I had downloaded the things in my life of not being loved in the way I wanted or needed as a little girl. And when I could put words on that and say that I'm really, really, really sorry that I was not able to receive the love you gave me, but I forgave myself in that process.
Wow.
And the whole energy in my throat just changed.
Opened up.
Open up. It was clear. It was clear. And he was completely sad. And I said, I really hope that this will help you to open up your heart for your next relationship.
You didn't tell me that you did this. This is amazing.
Oh, I didn't.
You said, you told me that you did parts of it, but I didn't.
The
first part.
Yeah.
The first part of it where you went, that's incredible, Louise.
But just to rewind that, from becoming aware of that, working with it, and not to rush into, I need to forgive, I need to do this, I need to do it. I had to sit with it I had to sit and hold it and be in my space to see how would this, and then I needed to trust the universe that this will come out authentic from my heart, not in my mind.
That's so intense. You're so brave to do that.
It is, but it was necessary. And if you had told me a year ago, I would say, yeah, right.
Still, it doesn't matter. The courage to do something like that comes when it's supposed to, just like forgiveness. I had prepared a meditation, which is not just a meditation on stillness and presence, which is usually what I do. It's a self-inquiry meditation where we're going to bring in the image of a person that has caused you pain, but you also see the lessons that you learned from this relationship. And I hadn't thought about this before you said what you said right now, but then also in just bringing to mind how you yourself have affected the painful or difficult situation that occurred. And I would say, just to preface this, is don't use something that is still completely an open wound.
No.
Because it's going to be, sometimes we have to do therapy for a few years before we can even get to this point. Something that might have worked through already is a better choice, so that we can look at the process more than sort of getting wrapped up in our feelings about it. What do you think?
Lovely.
Okay. We're going to do the meditation, and then we probably have to wrap up. But I think we haven't even gotten to most of the questions on the flowchart, so we should just do part 2 next week.
I think that's a great idea. And also,
because there's so much to say.
If you are listening to this podcast, and if you have any input, so if you want to share anything, please feel free to contact us.
You can email me, Pernilla, so it's Pernilla at awakening-101.com.
Maybe you can put it down also.
I'll put it in the description of the podcast. Okay. So now I'm going to close our eyes. If you're sitting cross-legged, just feel the bottom of your seat as it touches the floor or the chair. Just feel the connected, grounding energy between you and what is beneath you. If you're sitting in a chair, you can do the same, but also connecting with the bottom of your feet as it touches the floor. Just feel the sensation here. What does it feel like to touch the floor with the bottom of your feet? This is a very simple grounding exercise that I use a lot in meetings or when I'm listening to something that I want to really focus on. It's grounding the body. Then we're just going to take a few moments to connect with the air as it enters and exits our nostril. So just 3 breaths through the nose. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. So, since I did an introduction of this practice, I'm hoping that you have a person or even an event that you can bring to mind that triggered you or upset you in a big way. You felt angry or that it was unfair that you had to go through this. And then sort of turn the spotlight of awareness onto yourself. See if you can, for a minute, just think about, what was my part in this? Did I overreact, or did I react with anger because I felt abandoned or I needed to be right, or that it triggered a childhood memory? And then just imagine that light of consciousness, a golden, shimmering light, descends on you and the person or the event. It's like almost like you're seeing it in the morning sunrise. And just soften here. Soften in the light. See if you can notice that the energy shifts, and from a place of love, can you see what you learned about yourself? And how the situation had to happen in order for you to feel more free. You can bring back your attention to the tip of your nose. Feeling the air come in and out. Feeling the bottom of your feet, your seat. And slowly you can open your eyes. Namaste.
Namaste. Very nice. Thank you so much, Pernilla.
Yeah. I had planned it differently than it turned out, but that's okay.
That's what happens very often.
Yes, exactly.
But I just got this thought. Imagine if we were doing this 2-3 minutes every day. before we went out to meet people. We can even do this towards ourselves.
Yeah.
It's really a nice way to cultivate compassion.
Sally always says that the creativity of consciousness, or the consciousness, can be a form. So it's like when you're walking in the forest, sometimes it's not just green or a leaf. You feel that there is a vibration. And that light is a tingling white light that is the light of consciousness and the light of love. So you bring that into situations and you can shift things. I mean, you do your healing. I'm sure this is how you work with your healing. If you sort of take it out on a larger perspective and you bring it to the situation itself. For example, my daughter had this major surgery this year, and it was incredibly hard. She was in the hospital a couple of times, and in the afternoon, the sun would set in her hospital room. And it's always quieter in the afternoon at a hospital, because in the morning it's so busy, people are coming around. And there was always sort of a few hours during the sunset time when it was just me and her, and the light came in. And it was a moment to find that love in the light of consciousness in this extremely difficult situation that we were in. I can envision it, and if you can't, that's fine. But I think that the bringing the idea of love back into a difficult situation with somebody that you love, maybe a radical forgiveness isn't as easy with people that you don't matter. What is it like now that you did this process with
my ex-husband?
Ex-husband, yeah.
Our whole energy has shifted. Like our contact has shifted. Our presence when we're together is completely different. I can't talk about him, I can just talk about what it changed within me.
How it feels for you.
Yeah. I feel so light. I feel so much freedom. I feel clarity. I feel another layer of understanding why things turned out as it did. And
Incredible.
I think I also learned to trust the universe and the divine space instead of the ego, of not holding on to things. Even though it was my biggest dream to have this family, and coming from a divorced family myself, this was the last thing I wanted, especially for my children, But you need to let go.
Yeah. Because
even how painful it is.
Yeah.
So the pain becomes more pain, you resist it.
Well, holding on to resentments hurt. It hurts, like physically.
It makes you sick. It makes you sick.
And that's, I guess, what we began with, which is this idea that forgiveness is something that you decide that, I need to live this way.
Maybe it's an attitude of having that awareness, and to know that forgiveness benefit yourself.
Yeah.
It's benefit. In the end of the day, you go to bed with more ease in your body.
Yeah, because it's as simple as if somebody makes you mad and you decide to be mad, then you're mad, right? And that's a lot of work.
Yeah.
But instead, if I decide that I'm going to forgive,
I think
Yeah.
with everything in our spiritual growth, patient, as we say in Buddhism, is equal wisdom. We need to be
Yeah.
patient. Everything takes time. If you want to
Yeah.
run a
Everything takes time.
marathon, you need to practice for the marathon. And I think the
Hmm.
spiritual growth needs to be practiced. And if you want to practice radical forgiveness, of course, you can't go from being completely full of resentments and then think that you're going to be completely in ease and, wow, I've forgiven myself and everyone around me. Again, it's a process.
Yeah.
And we are
Yeah.
exactly where we're
Yeah.
supposed to be.
Exactly. And that's why radical forgiveness is the idea is that things happen as they should.
Yeah.
And people come into your life when they're supposed to wake you up when they're supposed to.
Mm.
So I think we're good now, right?
I think we're good. I think I forgive you.
Forgive me. Thank you. We will cut out the segment of the practice and put it in a separate episode so that if you just want to practice that, you can use it separately. And then there will be, of course, the full podcast. And they will be both on Spotify and YouTube. And we will continue next week with number 2 of this, I believe, because I think that there's a lot of things that we didn't get to today.
Absolutely.
And that's how this goes sometimes.
The quick recap for today, where the topic has been radical forgiveness. We have discussed how we can practice radical forgiveness, what it means for us, how you have experienced it in your life and how I have experienced it in my life. And then you did this wonderful meditation. And I think that in the next podcast, we're going to go a little bit deeper in how maybe using more examples of how radical forgiveness will help us to emotionally grow. And yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay, well, I am Pernilla Burke. I'm here with my best friend, Louise Juel. And we thank you so much for listening to us today.
Yes.
And we'll see you